The World Series of Poker main event is full of talented players.
Cools down when you get more chips.
But there's only one legend left. Don't take our word for it. Listen up.
Doyle's the man. He's a legend, and most poker players should look up to him.
Doyle is probably the biggest legends in poker.
Doyle Brunson is the man. I mean, this is the godfather of poker.
He's a hero. He's a great guy. He's funny.
He's an amazing guy.
Doyle Brunson won main events before most of this field was born. Now, at the age of 79, he attacks day 4, hoping for his third main event bracelet.
I play on instinct. I always have, and it seems to have served me pretty well, so I'm going to continue to do so.
Texas Dolly Brunson, who wrote the book.
He's moving in for the kill.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship.
Moneymaker puts his name amongst the greatest players in the game.
Wake me now.
Greg Merson is the main event champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Main event day 4.
Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event. Lon McCarron with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. Day 4 in full swing as we head straight to a developing hand with Michael the Grinder Mizrachi, the former dominating stack, now living precariously. Grinder with trip 7s, but outkicked by Brian Bonacour's better trip 7s. Brian just put Mizrachi all in.
Yeah, the Grinder has kicker problems here.
Michael shows his 7 and a tournament-saving fold for Mizrachi.
Who's your kicker?
Poker 101. Don't let your opponent know he made a good fold. Brian shows the best hand, and Grinder feels better about himself.
Bonacour picks up an extra $100 grand. Grinder took a hit, but he still has his seat in the main event. All right, let's check around the room now. 24-year-old Max Steinberg felted Phil Ivey on his way to the chip lead.
Phil Ivey? He's dead to me.
Defending chip Greg Merson representing Maryland well.
Merson also represents Ivy Poker, and Phil Ivey is dead to me.
Steve G gunning for back-to-back final tables.
Phil Ivey made the main event final table once, but now he's dead to me.
And there's Doyle Brunson, who has made back-to-back main event final tables.
His first main event final table in 1976. Phil Ivey was born in 1976. Now he is dead to me.
7 players over 1 million. No one with a bigger stack than Max Steinberg. 584 players left. Average stack nearly 11 times the starting stack of 300. Plenty of notables still left. Mark Kroon in a swoon. Farmer Phil Mader needs a new crop of chips.
Greg Mueller hoping to continue Canada's extraordinary summer at this World Series. Melanie Weisner, one of a handful of women still in the field.
Another one is Norwegian pro Annette Oberstad, headlining the secondary feature table.
The youngest bracelet winner ever, just shy of 19 when she won in Europe.
She's got a tough opponent there in Yevgeny Timoshenko.
Is he good looking, or do I need a new eyeglasses prescription?
Interesting table dynamics here, Norman. No huge stacks. Seems prime for someone to assert themselves. Could it be Timoshenko?
With Annette Oberstad on his left, in a word, Lon, no.
Annette, the second biggest stack at this table.
I expect her to have all the chips in the next 7 minutes or so.
And, of course, don't forget about 27-year-old Brown University grad Ike Haxton, feared by even the top pros.
He has a degree in philosophy, which is absolutely useless on or off the poker table.
Haxton folds 9-7 over to Adam Friedman. Queen 6 of diamonds for the pro.
43rd at the 2005 main event, 2012 bracelet winner.
He's from Columbus. Raised to 12,000 to Timoshenko now. King Jack of Hearts.
He apparently left his blow dryer at home in Seattle.
Timoshenko got off on the right foot in his career, winning his first ever live poker tournament as a 19-year-old. He calls. Annette Oberstad with pocket deuces. Had some early success, too, as you mentioned, winning that main event title at age 18. Turned 19 while celebrating. She calls. Now to Vimy Ha in the big blind. Pocket aces. Hello.
Ha double majored at Rice University in mathematical economic analysis and studio art, which leads him to picking up pocket aces at this precise moment.
Currently a 37-year-old Brooklyn software consultant. A lot of action in front of him. And he's going to re-raise it to 28,000.
Yeah, that re-raise should clear out all the crumb bums and shoe clerks.
That's exactly what he wants to do, and Friedman obliges now to Yevgeny.
Yeah, but Yevgeny may be thinking he's not a crumb bum or a shoe clerk.
Nobody would put him in that category. He is caught in the middle here, though. But he's not worried. He calls.
And Annette now getting almost 6-1 to see a flop.
And she puts in 16,000 more. Will join the three-way party. All right, here's the flop. And it is 10, queen, 9, and that is the sound of cracking aces. Timoshenko flops a straight.
Wow.
Fimi checks.
In 2009, Timoshenko won the WPT's most prestigious event and online poker's most prestigious title.
Annette waiting for Timoshenko to act, and he does take his time. No slow play, 38,000. Annette folds.
Ha knows that board could very well connect with the hand in Timoshenko's range.
Aces look so small sometimes. Fimi Ha makes the call.
Yeah, they're pretty small, Lon. Pocket aces right now a 4% hand.
All right, heads up, turn card. Jack of clubs opens the door to a possible higher straight for Ha.
Yeah, another scare card on that board. Timoshenko could easily have him beat.
Check.
Ha checks it. Timoshenko shuts down.
Timoshenko might be worried. Ha check call to flop with ace-king.
Blank on the river. Ha left with his pocket aces and bets 57,000.
Ha with a defensive bet there with those pocket aces.
I call.
A call. Ha shows his aces, only to be shown the winning straight. So Ha loses a chunk, but still owns a very workable bank of chips. Timoshenko gets a little healthier.
Decent flop, that turn card. Yeah, decent flop.
Now that could have been a lot worse for Ha. He and Timoshenko now with almost identical stacks.
Yevgeny Timoshenko is part of the new breed of poker player, smart, methodical, and of course young. Doyle Brunson is smart, but methodical was never something he was accused of. So what gives Norman? What style works in this event?
Having never played the main event, I am uniquely qualified to answer this. Yes, there are benefits to a methodical style. Aside from tilting your opponents, you might need the extra time to come up with the right play. But there is such a thing as overthinking in poker. Does he know that I know that he knows that I know? To be honest, I never know. Well, Doyle Brunson has trusted his instinct for 60 years, and he's doing just fine.
And Doyle still doing just fine. The current payout for Texas Dolly and the others remaining is $21,495. 2012 champ Greg Merson, he and opponent Nick Schwarman flopped straight draws. Nick the top end, Greg the bottom end.
Schwarman, 25-year-old Orlando pro.
Greg Merson with a bet of 22,000.
Schwarman was second in a no-limit hold'em World Series event this year.
And 22,000 is the call.
I wouldn't have bet there, and I wouldn't have called there. And that's why I reside in the booth, sitting on my hands and taking in Lon McCarron's delicious aftershave.
Turn card 5 of hearts. That pairs Merson and gives him the advantage now.
Merson currently clean 19 months and counting from his drug addiction.
46,000 this time after the turn. Schwarman picked up a flush draw.
Schwarman and his brother build supercars. Those are high-priced sports cars that sell in the low six figures. Who builds supercars in their spare time? Where do you buy an assembly line?
Schwarman with straight and flush draws. May figure it's worth it to stick around. And he does call.
Yeah, he is pretty sticky. But if Nick thinks Merson is posturing, why doesn't he just pop him and try to end matters?
Good point. To the river they go. Queen of clubs. So Schwarman's draws come up empty. Merson is best. He checks.
Merson ends up with bottom pair. Schwarman ends up with squad douche. But I think Schwarman's stick-to-itiveness might pay dividends. He kept calling with jack high. And it looks like he's going to bet the river with nothing. And what can Merson beat? Nothing but jack high.
67,000 from Nick.
I call.
And Greg calls. And Schwarman mucks without even showing.
Boy, on a 6-8-7-5 queen board with 3 hearts, when I have 5 deuce and someone bets, calling is about the 98th thing I think about doing.
Merson crosses over the 600,000 chip mark. And look at that. The pair of fives take down Schwarman, who's still left with 1.1 million. He's all right.
Maybe 2013 should be like 1970. Let's take a vote and give Merson the main event bracelet on that call alone.
Merson getting props from the rail. All right, let's go to the featured table. Doyle Brunson with king high is jousting with the queen high of Steve G after an ace-ace tray flop.
Steve G was the oldest at last year's main event final table. Of course, here at age 58, he is 21 years Doyle's junior.
Brunson putting chips together to bet. And that is 20,000. And now Steve G makes the call.
Well, Doyle tried to pick up the pot right there, and Steve said, no, sir.
Turn card, another tray. Brunson still good. Checks this time.
Steve G, 2010 bracelet winner.
Trying to get back to the final table. He's got to go through Doyle Brunson right now. G bets 45,000.
And now G will try to pick up the pot right here. But Doyle's instinct tells him king high might be the best hand. I think Doyle buys instinct at Costco because he seems to have a lifetime supply of it.
There is the call. He has G out chipped by 100,000 plus.
What, Steve G think he's playing with kids here?
Another tray. That puts a full house on the board. Both would play the board in a showdown. Doyle checks.
Maybe G will bet to represent an ace in this hand. It's almost like he's on a free roll if he figures they're chopping the pot.
He thought about it for a second. He reached for those orange chips, but then he looked into those eyes. There's the check. Chop it up.
Doyle shows, and Steve kind of slow rolling his chop pot.
Steve shows queen of clubs, 10 of clubs.
Damn, Doyle, what are you trying to do to me?
What are you trying to do to yourself?
Just be thankful that tray came, but well, I can tell you.
I'm not going to live very long playing with you, Doyle. Huh? Yeah, I got a bad heart. I got to play with Doyle.
Probably a good thing you didn't bet.
Oh, I got a flush straight draw, right? What I got?
You got nothing.
Damn.
Picked up the club draw on the turn, but it's just 3.
That's good call on the turn, though.
Doyle Brunson proving that at age 79 his skills and reads are razor sharp. The 2013 World Series of Poker is brought to you by Caesars Casino on Facebook. What happens in Vegas now can go anywhere. Back on day one, Ty Stewart, executive director of the World Series of Poker, unveiled a bronze bust of Texas Dolly and presented him with a main event entry.
Brunson and Bill Boyd, the only players ever to win World Series bracelets in 4 consecutive years.
Doyle, I promise not to do that anymore.
I get hard-headed sometimes.
Impressed by the hand before the break? Let's hear what Antonio Esfandiari and Phil Locke thought about Doyle's check call with king high.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the legend, Doyle Brunson.
That's 79, showing all of us younger players how it's done, and it's incredible. I mean, he plays the hand great. On the turn, he realizes, hey, that's a dry board. I have king high. I'm still good. I'm going to call. I'm holding on. This is just great poker.
Right. I mean, at 79 years old, he has the courage to hold on with king high because he knows it's good. You have to give the guy a lot of credit. My hero to start playing poker, my hero today, and hopefully one day, at your age, Doyle, I can play like you.
Awesome. Awesome. Homage to Doyle Brunson. Yeah.
As the 1976 and 77 champ, nearly won a 3rd main event title in 1980. He finished runner-up that year to Stu Unger.
All right, let's jump to the secondary table where Annette Oberstadt is hoping her ace-queen can run down the pocket jacks held by Fort Lauderdale main event rookie casher, Bradley Rubin.
Rubin, a poker pro with a master's degree in international business from the University of Florida.
Here is the flop, and there is a queen top pair for Annette to take the lead.
Ace, queen, and pocket jacks, Lon. 2 hands we hate, one of them's got to win.
It would be fitting to have running diamonds come, and then they chop the pot. Turn card. King of hearts, Rubin with a gut shot now.
So now Bradley Rubin looking for a jack or a 10 to keep his main event alive.
Annette hoping to avoid danger on the river and score the knockout. Ruben looking for help. Another 9 will not be enough to save Bradley Ruben from elimination. Ruben out in 500 first place. Players falling quickly. Annette stacks the winnings. It's been 6 years since she won the first ever World Series Europe main event bracelet, and a lot has changed since then.
Thinking back to 07 when I won, it was really weird for me because I wasn't used to being in the spotlight at all. Figuring out like how to deal with that without it changing you in a way was very challenging. Now at least I'm at a stage where, you know, whatever you throw at me, I'm gonna be a lot more prepared. In the last 15 months or so, I've started getting more healthy, I guess. I started working out slowly and, you know, counting calories and just being better about it because I was always not very healthy, but it's just because I didn't know any better. I wasn't informed, like nutrition, didn't know anything about it. I ate kind of what I wanted. I didn't eat a lot, like I would eat maybe twice a day, but what I would eat would just be like horrible food. I'm just in a happy place.
Good to be in that.
Sure is. No complaints. I'm gonna be playing well, and I have probably a better chance now than ever to do good.
She lost more than 30 pounds, and she also shed some of her arrogance around others. To her credit, Annette's table countenance much better these days.
Also, it should be noted that we give props to a lot of male players who dress well when they play poker. Annette may be the best-dressed poker player around right now. She calls an opening raise of 12,000. Adam Friedman with King 10 of clubs. Annette with Ace 10 offsuit. Vimy Ha in the big blind with 9-6.
Ha married with a young daughter and says having a child has influenced his poker game because he doesn't take as many risks anymore. Maybe he needs a second child so he doesn't call with 9-6 off.
Jack 4-10. King 10 officially in trouble against Oberstad's Ace 10. Vimy Ha missed and checks. Friedman with middle pair and a king kicker. Bets 12,000.
Annette always looks like she's waiting on you. The kind of driver who anxiously wants that light to turn green, and when it does, honks immediately if you don't move. You know, assuming there are cars in Norway.
Annette calls. Vimy Ha gives up his hand. Heads up now.
One thing about Annette that hasn't changed, sunglasses indoors.
Turn card is an ace. Ace is up now for Oberstad. A check from Friedman.
It's easy to forget she won her bracelet at age 18. At 18, I was still rifling through my mother's purse for a few extra bucks. Sorry, Mom.
Annette with 28,000 into the middle, testing Adam now.
Well, even if Adam loses his hand, give him credit. The beard is very well groomed.
Friedman now with a Broadway draw and that 10. Who's going to come along to see the river?
Oberstad, a huge favorite here.
River card. 8 of spades. Friedman comes up with a lot of nothing. He checks.
Annette used to be a very methodical player, not as much anymore. She's picked up the pace of her live game.
And we see her stare daggers into Timoshenko when he takes his time. Annette bets 57,000.
Adam's better at mixed games. His bracelet is in stud 8, but he ends up playing a lot of Hold'em where he lives in Columbus, Ohio, because that's all they have there, and he's pretty good at it.
Adam will give up the second best hand. Nice fold. And Annette will soak the chips in.
Adam not sure if he should have laid that one down.
Annette Oberstad now with the most chips at this secondary featured table. And just like that, Annette sits with more than $750,000. Healthy lifestyle, very healthy staff. You are watching day 4 of the World Series of Poker main event. Quickly to an outer table. Michael Mizrachi all in for 41,000.
Let me jack this pot, please.
He's got King Jack versus the Ace King of Paul Taylor to his left.
That could have been worse.
Yeah, Grinder picks up a gut shot.
10 of clubs.
Nope, 7 of clubs.
10 or jack or Grinder is whamboozled.
The river card. The 5 of diamonds, and oh, how the mighty fall.
See you, bud. All right, guys.
Once had a real big stack.
Michael Mizrachi, knocked out of the 2013 main event in 473rd place.
He's had $3 million paydays at World Series events. 24 grand seems like gas money.
Back to the feature table where Doyle has a new group of players to school, including Chris Johnson with the most chips of them, and 2012 Octo Niner Rob Salaburu.
How old are you? How old are you?
73.
You're 83?
I would have guessed 50.
80?
Yeah.
That's 73-year-old Bob Bright from Las Vegas with ace-7 of hearts.
Bright, CEO of Bright Trading LLC, with a couple of World Series final tables.
13.
Opens the pot to 13,000. German student Tim Ulrich, 9 deuce off. Thanks for showing us. And folds Sarah Herzali from Marseille, France.
Where did she come from? I had not been notified of this.
2 black aces to match her outfit.
Nice hand, nice outfit.
Herzali with the striking red nails puts together a re-raise. 29,000 now. On the button, Sergei Stashkov folds. Chris Johnson with pocket kings.
Pocket kings and a backward baseball cap, a recipe for disaster. Who is this woman? Are they filming a Bond movie at the main event? And this is a James Bond type of hand, aces versus kings.
Johnson from nearby Henderson, a poker pro, re-pops it to 58,000. Doyle Brunson now 9-6 off. Wants to play that hand, but he folds. Now back to Bright, the original raiser.
Well, as we say in the options trading business, too rich for his blood.
Back to Herzali with the aces.
If Sarah loses his hand, she might poison her chips.
Oh boy, she is moving all in. And a snap call from Johnson. Herzali at risk with the best hand in the game.
Easy call for Johnson, but he's crushed. Johnson having a great summer. 7 cashes here, 2 final tables.
I feel like 4 hearts are going to come out.
I sat here and had the hands all day yesterday. I made a pair today.
Nobody wants to hear it, Pops.
All right, aces versus kings. Here's the flop. And there is an ace. Herzali's stock zooms even further.
The Bond girl is going to double up.
That gives Sarah a set of aces.
Johnson needs runner. Turn card 8 of spades. Johnson loved the kings until showdown, and then he had to double up Herzali.
I'm now told she also played in the main event in 2011. Doesn't seem possible. I was unaware.
Johnson no longer the big stack at this table. Herzali doubles to almost 300,000.
All that came from 9,000 too, by the way. She's down to, I remember.
You're down to 9,000?
8.
8? No way.
That's
awesome.
All in for 132,000.
This is actually her 3rd World Series cash, including a 48th place finish in the ladies event in 2011.
Age is a very obvious divide at this table. 7 players under 30, 2 over 70. The average age of this year's main event entrant was 38.
Johnny Moss was the oldest main event champion, just a week shy of his 67th birthday in 1974. You know, Doyle's got 10 bracelets, but I claim he only has 9.5 because he won the mixed doubles event with Starla Brody in 1979.
We'll keep it here at the feature table. Ulrich open raise with 9-6 off. Doyle in the small blind has pocket tens, made the call. Salaburu comes along with ace-10 off.
If they bring back mixed doubles, Lon, you and I should enter together.
I had another woman in mind, actually. 8-6 deuce. Doyle Brunson still best with his pocket tens.
Good for you.
He checks. Salaburu with 2 overs to the board, bets 25,000. Quickly, Ulrich with middle pair.
Salaburu wasting no time bluffing. Ulrich cashed in a World Series event last year. Reminds me a bit of Eli Manning.
25,000 is the call. Brunson now.
You know, Salaburu and Ulrich's combined age is 53. Coincidentally, that's the exact number of prescriptions Doyle has had filled this week.
Oh.
Well, this is a great board for pocket tens and a great time for Texas Dolly to check raise.
Quick fold. Doyle Brunson will take down that pot. He's trying to rebuild his stack. Day 4 has been a bit of a stumbling block for Doyle Brunson so far. He sits on 400,000. And everyone loves to see Doyle take a pot.
I love that smile.
Number 1.
First pot of the day?
I think it is.
To the outer tables, early main event chip leader Mark Kroon is all in.
I'm pretty good at this. I just wanted you to know. It's usually the 10 of hearts.
Mark dominated by Aditya Agarwal.
I'm actually going to count my chips because I'm doubling out there.
Both paired their jack on the flop.
I have that much confidence in this. 10 of hearts, please.
Tray of clubs.
It's usually on the river the 10 of hearts comes. Not the 10 of clubs, the 10 of hearts.
Kroon needs a red 10.
Thank you. 10 of hearts.
Blackjack. Kroon comes up empty and knocked out of the main event.
The rise and fall of Mark Kroon, chip leader to start days 2 and 3, gone here on day 4.
Right here.
Kroon heads for the payout cage while Philly resident Agarwal sits with over 1 million chips, almost 300,000 of those from Mark Kroon.
It was such a whirlwind tournament, you know, being chip leader the first 2 days. You know, I wouldn't take anything back. It was just great. 2013 in the books. Be back next year. Chip leader for sure next year, day 1. Thanks a lot, guys.
He accumulated, he entertained, and now Mark Kroon is gone.
I dreamed of playing in the main event, and my wife decided to take it upon herself to make my dream come true. For my 40th birthday, she handed me a box, and inside the box was a picture of Doyle Brunson, and at the bottom it says, "A chip in a chair, baby. You're going to the World Series."
It's been a record-breaking year for the World Series of Poker. Players from 106 different nations traveled from all over the world to come and compete for bracelets in Las Vegas. There were nearly 80,000 different entries into 62 events, which raised a prize pool of over $197 million. And we still have a few players left in who are hoping to make their own history. 4 of last year's final 9 are hoping to go back-to-back final tables for the main event of the World Series of Poker. Now, that would be unprecedented given the field sizes. Those players are Stephen G., Russell Thomas, Greg Merson, and sitting at the feature table behind me, Robert Salaburu.
Rob enjoying the third cash of his World Series of Poker summer. He had a handful of small cashes in between last November and this World Series. Action on Tim Ulrich, ace, queen of spades under the gun.
This has been a throwback year for the World Series. Past champions re-emerging. Daniel Negreanu won his 5th bracelet in Australia. David Chu won his 5th. Mike Matusow, Daniel Olai, and Tom Snyder all with their 4th bracelets. Jeff Madsen with his 3rd.
And Phil Ivey won his 9th.
He is dead to me.
Wow, he's really dead. Doyle Brunson folds Salaburu now with pocket deuces. Calls for 12,000. I can't keep up with the action with Rob there. Santiago Nadal in the big blind.
How do you like it on TV?
Whatever, dude. I don't care.
Did you like it in November?
I mean, honestly, I'd rather not. Just run it without it. Be a lot better.
There was a needle. Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it. That was funny.
Really?
I didn't laugh, though.
You weren't laughing.
Nadal and his brother Jose, both still alive at this main event. That's a wonderful story to take back to Mexico.
Nadal wants to change the conversation. A re-raise to 38,000.
How much you play behind?
250.
150?
250. 250.
One ace-queen likes it better than the other ace-queen.
Salaburu with the deuces, a favorite right now. Ulrich calls for 26,000 more.
Salaburu known for 2 things: catchphrases like "you lost, bro" and "huevos rancheros," and quick decision-making, both of which we like a lot.
And okay, flop me a deuce, dealer.
Well, he's got 4-1 on a call there, looking for a set or maybe some other solution to the hand.
All right, here's the flop. And there is a deuce for Salaburu.
And Salaburu staring down that board. It's a friendly board, bro.
Well, the zeros on the percentage mark for Nadal and Ulrich, not good. But Nadal reaching for chips. 51,000.
How much?
Ulrich folds. So Nadal now with a 2% chance with Ulrich out of the hand.
104.
A raise from Rob to 104.
A min raise would have been 102, but he's charging Nadal an extra 2,000 for holding on to the drawstring of his hoodie. Or maybe Rob's math is just bad and he thought 51 times 2 is 104.
Nadal needs a big chunk of his stack to make this call. He better be committed.
Yeah, I don't think Nadal wants to tell his brother that he made a stand when his ace-queen missed the flop.
Not much in that stack. And he says, well, I tried. Go ahead and take it, Rob.
Salaburu will take it, but he probably thought Nadal's hand was stronger than it was and he'd get at least a call there.
Rob up to 454,000. Nadal's stack shrinking as he's down to just 26 big blinds now.
So why does Salaburo act so quickly? He says he's learned not to go against his first instinct, so he doesn't. Plus, his style sometimes tilts his opponents.
Of the 441 players remaining, 3 have won main events: Doyle Brunson, Greg Merson, and Carlos Mortensen. At an outer table, a short stack Carlos just raised to 18,000 with ace-8 off. With 9-8 of diamonds, Ami Alabe is calling from the big blind.
Alabe, a Montreal nightclub and restaurant owner.
But he was born in Madagascar. All right, here is the flop. 9-8-4, top 2 pair for Alabe. He checks. Mortensen with middle pair moves all in, and he's called.
Yeah, the 2001 champ with just 6 big blinds left, and he just ran into a really bad spot.
No help on the turn. River card is an ace, and Carlos in the nick of time will win the hand. Ace is up, gives him the double up.
Wow, the Matador gets gored and survives.
Mortensen with 120,000 chips saved in dramatic fashion. Another main event bracelet still a possibility, but he has a long climb ahead of him. A look at Binion's Casino, original home to the World Series of Poker back in 2003. That's where Chris Moneymaker and probably won the main event.
2003, there is some accountant from Tennessee that no one's ever heard of. And I'm like, what's your name? He's like, oh, Chris Moneymaker. So we get it into a really big hand. I've got king, queen off suit.
The flop's down 9-2-5.
Not the perfect flop for king, queen, but I stuck with the plan, give it a check. He fires out, half pot size bet, you know. And I just come right over the top.
Oh, and Dutch Boyd's gonna move all in.
But I'm pretty sure he's gonna fold. And he doesn't.
A call.
Call. Turns over a pair of 3s. Hell of a call there, man. Here's Chris Moneymaker, all in. I think that was the only time in that whole tournament where his whole tournament life is on the line. The turn comes a king or a queen, and whew. And he goes back home, 14th, but that didn't happen.
And a 4 comes out on the turn, which actually gives Moneymaker now a straight draw.
And the last card, an ace of diamonds, and it gives Moneymaker a straight and a victory. A huge win over Dutch Boyd.
We're making some desperation calls here.
And the rest is history. Dutch Boyd still alive in the 2013 main event, but he's all in with ace-king against the king-jack of Jake Cody. Neither one flush with chips.
Boyd with bracelets in 2006 and 2010.
You guys ever been able to film someone just throw up all over the table? Has that ever happened in the World Series of Poker history?
We're going to hope they don't happen. I might edit that out.
Here's the flop. Boyd at risk. And there's a jack. Jake Cody takes the lead, pairing his jack. Jake has over 40% of his chips in the middle. Turn card is a queen. Dutch Boyd gets some more outs.
So Boyd now looking for an ace or a 10.
River card is a 10, and Dutch Boyd goes runner, runner, Broadway for the small double up.
Get ready for it. It's coming.
No, better to double up than to throw up.
A big hit to the already small chip stack for Cody.
Yeah, Cody short stacked. Boyd not in that much better shape, even with that double up.
You're right, Norman. Dutch Boyd up to just 114,000. The road ahead will still be very treacherous. All right, let's catch up with last year's 9th place finisher, Steve G. His pair of 7s with an ace is just 11% to beat the kings up of Aaron Overton after the turn of a paired board.
Overton, 31-year-old Philadelphia pro.
Steve G putting chips together. 33,000 after Overton checked.
Do we ever see G bet with the best hand?
That's true.
To his credit, he walks between the raindrops quite nicely.
And that's a call from Overton. Overton with the kings up, way ahead. River card. 6 of hearts. Overton, first to act. Checks again.
What would Joe Navarro say about G wearing the hoodie and putting his hand on his head? He's beat, but he's going to offer at it.
More than that, he puts Overton all in.
Pocket kings.
Yeah, G bets enough to put Overton at risk. It's tough to call all in unless you're absolutely sure. And Steve G showing no fear in bluffing, despite the way he went out at last year's final table.
This would be for all of Overton's stack, and he gives up his kings up.
Nice play by Steve G.
Save that card, save the turn card.
Overton folds the best hand after G exerts ultimate pressure, pulling that pot out of oblivion. G pumping up his stack here on day 4 as he looks for back-to-back main event final tables. Tonight's bracelet moments are presented by PokerNews.com. The winner of the $3,000 no-limit hold'em mixed max event was not a max, as Max Steinberg finished second to Isaac Hagerling, who celebrated his 26th birthday by winning his first World Series bracelet.
I'm relieved to have finished all my matches and get out of the Rio with the money.
The victor of the $1,500 no-limit hold'em shootout event was Bulgarian Simeon Naidanov.
I feel just great. I don't know. I can't explain the feeling. It's like just the biggest achievement in my career.
And Ben Volpe took home over $200,000 for capturing the bracelet in the $1,500 ante-only no-limit hold'em tournament. Just one bracelet left to be won this year in Las Vegas. Max Steinberg, who you saw finish second at an earlier event this year, he's the current chip leader with $1.7 million. Merson, Brunson, and Oberstad still in contention.
And you see among the notables eliminated, Phil Ivey, who is dead to me.
DJ Agarwal, who knocked out Mark Kroon, is being tested by Eddie Blumenthal, who raised all in with top pair and an open-ender after a 7-4-5 flop. Agarwal sits with just ace-king, but 240 grand already invested. Agarwal makes the call, seduced by ace-king.
Agarwal knocked out Mark Kroon, who's from Wisconsin. Blumenthal, also from Wisconsin. He seems to be targeting Wisconsin residents. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Blumenthal at risk, trying to hang on. And there's an ace for Agarwal. Blumenthal up against the wall.
Ace-king gets there. Blumenthal still with 13 outs to get it back and stick around.
The river card is a Trey Blumenthal. Rivers a straight for the double up.
Right, what are you doing to me?
Blumenthal just won an 863,000 chip pot. But in terms of stress, Agarwal just took 863 minutes off the back end of his life.
Agarwal loses almost 40% of his chips.
This is Blumenthal's second straight main event cash.
Well, and as he catches his breath and stacks his newly won chips, let's get back to the secondary table where two strong pros have not been shy about crossing paths. Yevgeny Timoshenko just flopped top 2 pair in the small blind. Annette Oberstad in the big blind is open-ended. She's waiting on Timoshenko to act.
Timoshenko too serious today. Smile. Smell the roses or the Rio.
24,000.
As you mentioned, these two battling all day. Pros usually like to stay away from each other, but at this stage of the main event, sometimes you have no choice.
Annette with the draw. But putting together some raising chips, showing strength, the raise to 69,000.
If I'm Timoshenko, I'm asking, what can she be raising with? He's got top 2. A set for her would be unlikely. There's no flush draw out there.
The curious Ukrainian-born Timoshenko calls for 45,000 more. Turn card. Another 7 gives Timoshenko an unbeatable full house.
Now, see, I would have smiled when I hit that full house. I know it's a tell, but it tells me I'm happy.
Now, can he induce a bet from Annette? Nope. River card. Queen of diamonds. Luckily for Annette, she missed her draw.
You got that right. And whatever he bets right now, she can't call.
Timoshenko will do his own bidding here on the river. 97,000 and a snap fold from Oberstad. Timoshenko will take that one in a battle of two strong pros. Well, it's not a bad strategy to avoid the strongest player at your table, but when there are so many of them in a confined area, fireworks will fly. The 2013 World Series of Poker is brought to you by the official WSOP social game. Download now on Facebook or your smartphone. The iconic Las Vegas Strip. It doesn't seem to matter the time of year. Always something to do. For poker players, the summer, though, means the World Series of Poker. Blinds at 4 and 8,000.
Man, not
Ulrich folds over to Sarah Herzali. King 9 of hearts. Sarah opens the pot for 17,000. Sergei Stashkov from St. Petersburg, Russia, folds. Johnson folds. Doyle Brunson in the small blind. Queen 10 of clubs makes the call. Rob folds, heads up.
This is a grueling event, and Doyle will tell you he just gets worn down physically by this point.
All right, here's the flop. Trey, 5, queen, all diamonds. Pair of queens for Doyle. He checks to the razor. Herzali missed that flop.
She first started playing poker encouraged by her boyfriend, poker pro Jeremy Palvini.
Still counting.
Herzali missed the flop, but bets 19,000.
She doesn't have a diamond in her hand, but she lets it fly. Doyle with top pair.
Can't love the diamonds, but he'll come along one more street at least.
Well, I think he started to run some numbers in his head. Then he remembered he just plays by the seat of his pants and called.
That's right. Turn card. Ace of diamonds puts 4 diamonds on the board. Doyle, no diamond. Sarah, no diamond. Doyle checks again.
Herzali still with nothing, no diamond, no ace. I like this play because it smelled like she bet a diamond draw on the flop.
No diamond, but she has position. Puffs up and bets 27,000, and Doyle releases.
Boy, that should be her demo video for a training site, outplaying Texas Dolly in the main event.
Some moxie and position, and a fortunate turn of cards. Sarah Herzali will take that pot up to 354,000.
It seems likely that 40 years ago, Doyle couldn't have imagined a scenario in which he'd get bluffed by a woman on national TV. It's okay, Doyle. We still love you.
We heard Doyle earlier bemoaning the lack of pots he's been able to drag here on day 4. He began the day with 626,000, now sits with just 205. We'll keep it here at the featured table, and Doyle Brunson and company. Bob Bright under the gun folds. Nadal gives it up to Tim Ulrich. The most chips at this featured table with King 10.
I'm thinking Eli Manning,
Yeah.
at least a cousin.
You're right, yeah, raised to 16,000. Herzali with Queen 9. We'll sit this one out. Sergei Stashkov with pocket 10s for the 24-year-old.
Stashkov started playing poker after fellow Russian Ivan Demidov made the main event final table in 2008.
He's doubled his stack on day 4 so far. Doyle Brunson now on the button, King 10 off.
And he looks like he might be in a larcenous mood, thinking squeeze play.
Doyle looks like he wants to teach these 20-somethings a thing or two. That is a re-raise to 86,000. Ulrich now, also with King 10. He folds to Stashkov. How involved does Stashkov want to get with the great Doyle Brunson?
I'm on.
All in.
And he puts Doyle all in.
All right, that's good.
And Doyle says, okay. Doyle Brunson's going to need some help to stick around.
The same hand.
That's bad news.
So no more 10s in there. That's
Doyle
easy.
put himself in a tough spot. He started the hand with 25 big blinds, and then after his big re-raise, he would have been left with 15 big blinds if he folded there.
2 of them left.
Doyle Brunson at risk in the 2013 main event. Here's the flop. 3 blanks for Doyle.
Doyle Brunson in dire straits here.
Sergei Stashkov in line for a red letter knockout. Turn card. 9 of hearts brings no salvation to the 2-time champ.
Texas Dolly down to a 2-outer. He's got to have a king or his main event is over.
The river card, the ace of clubs. Stashkov wins, eliminates Doyle Brunson from this main event. Doyle Brunson receiving a well-deserved round of applause from the entire room.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doyle's elimination leaves 408 players and a familiar name and face still on top. Max Steinberg, Nick Schwarman, who lost to bottom pair to Greg Merson in ninth. Kara Scott right now is with the poker legend.
Doyle Brunson is one of the most famous faces in this game. You nearly didn't play the main event and had to be kind of enticed in. What was the experience like for you?
Well, it was fun. You know, it's always fun, especially, you know, right now starting on. But, you know, I tried. That's all I can do.
Can you talk a little bit about the reception that you've received from the community? You've had a bust, a bronze bust made in your likeness as well. Everyone claps when you go out, and everyone always loves to see you at these events.
Well, it's flattering, and, you know, I appreciate it that people, you know, they remember the old days when it was a little bit tougher.
The old days, I'm not so sure they were that long ago.
Yeah, they were long ago.
Still crushing the games, though, and it's always good to see you at these events. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
Doyle Brunson's deep day 4 run captivated the poker world.
I got a bad heart. I got to play with Doyle.
Even though a legend fell, a legend grew.
Really want to bet you just want to talk.
One former champion was saved by a 3-outer. While the defending champion made an amazing call with bottom pair. We're halfway through day 4, and the buzz in the Amazon room is now about Greg Merson.
It's you again. I know, right?
For Norman Chad and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.